I've laid out not an infinite number of strategic priorities, a few. To govern is to choose. To lead is to decide. And one of the issues that we have not talked about, and we have to confront, and we cannot leave this room without thinking about, is this one. How do we pay for this? We can't be a credible political party unless we have an answer to that question. Until we confront the hard reality that our political adversaries have dropped us in a $56 billion hole. And unless we can convince Canadians that we know how to get them out, they're not going to listen to anything else we say. So we have to be courageous, we have to be clear on this subject. So I want to make it clear how we do this. The first thing we have to make a commitment publicly to is a deficit reduction target that Canadians can believe. A deficit reduction target of 1% of GDP within 2 years of taking office. That is where it starts. With deficits declining every year thereafter until the books are balanced. There are a lot of things that we want to do in 2017. One of the things we absolutely do not want to do is load our children with debt and deficit, and we will not do so under a Liberal government. In 2000, the federal corporate tax rate was 28%. We made steady reductions in corporate income tax from that point onwards. It's now down to go down to 18%. We believe, we're not the NDP here, we believe passionately in competitive corporate tax rates. We're telling you, though, we can't afford them now. There's just too much we have to do to get our fiscal house in order and make the investments that will make us a productive society. So what we're saying here is we're going to freeze corporate tax rates until we can afford further reductions. And that means when we've got this budget back in balance and when we've got our fiscal house in order. And let's just remember where we are. Our corporate tax rate is already 25% more competitive than our next door neighbor in the United States. So understand, I think we've got the margin here to get our fiscal house in order and make the investments we need. And corporate Canada, for whom I have the greatest respects, needs more tools than just the corporate tax to keep us competitive. What did we hear? What is that story about jobs telling us? The biggest shortage, the biggest problem, the biggest roadblock to Canadian expansion and productivity is labor shortage. The lack of skilled and trained people. How are you going to get them unless we make the investments in learning today that get this economy ready for tomorrow? That's the key point that comes out of this weekend for me. If we defer corporate tax reductions until the country can afford them, we will have the revenue necessary, the billions of dollars necessary to pay down the deficit and make a few, very few, strategically chosen investments, which I've already described to you. Focused on learning, focused on care, focused on regaining Canada's influence in the world. Do we rush ahead with further reductions to corporate tax reductions we can't afford when we're already globally competitive, or do we use these resources to reduce the deficit and invest in our future? And I'm telling you, I've made the choice. We've made the choice. We have to go here. If we're going to keep faith with what we heard, if we're keep faith with the challenges we have to overcome. And so I'm making these announcements as a form of respect to this discussion. To say that it's not all talk. After great talk, searching talk, thoughtful dialogue, comes the essential political moment, the moment of choice, the moment of leadership. And you have to be with me. I need your help here.